All right, everyone, I'm becoming more and more convinced that this is not going to be anything like the 2016 election. It's going to be more like Donald Trump clubbing a baby seal. We've got new polling in, actually. We've got Remington and then we've got Bloomberg. The Bloomberg polls, I have a feeling that their methodology might have been a little bit flawed because I can't imagine that Donald Trump collapses in Wisconsin and in Michigan and is well behind while somehow soaring ahead in Pennsylvania. So according to the Bloomberg polls, it's like -4 in Wisconsin. I do believe Wisconsin will go blue. I'll be talking about that separately, but it's not about the polls or about voters. It's about shenanigans. You're saying that suddenly he's collapsed there, but he's +7 now in Pennsylvania, where he has been, just a little bit ahead by like a point or two. Considering the enormous spread that we're dealing with the Bloomberg polls, I'm going to ignore them completely. I wish they weren't even being aggregated because the people at RCP should take one look at those numbers and say, this is physically impossible. It's not even possible for these numbers to be real. It's not possible within the same demographic region to gain 5 points in one state and lose 5 points in another. It doesn't make any sense. Remington shows Trump ahead across the board, again by a bit more of a margin than before. And it comports to what you would expect. If I look at the presidential approval polling, and I look at Joe Biden losing a couple of points there, he's now very close to his all-time high in disapproval, and he's riding right just barely above his all-time low in approval. I would expect that to impact swing state polling. I want more polls from Virginia, Minnesota, New Hampshire, and Maine. But I'm probably not going to get enough of them because for some reason, pollsters have it in their mind that Nevada's in play right now. They also think that Georgia's in play. Bloomberg happens to agree with them. He's apparently Trump's only +1 in Georgia, so he's collapsing there, again whilst magically gaining 5 points of support in Pennsylvania. No, I don't believe in the Bloomberg polls. Neither the positive nor the negative ones, by the way. I think that the guesstimate is that the aggregate is roughly correct. Although that poll is going to screw up the aggregate for a little while, we're hoping for more accurate numbers over the coming weeks. And I will be talking about polling, I'm certain, on tomorrow's live stream. I think that Donald Trump will cripple Joe Biden in the election. He's riding ahead of where he was in 2016, when he won, in the electoral sense, where he won fairly handily. He's running way, way ahead of where he was in 2020, and there's one central reason, and it's not even dementia related. It's because now Joe Biden has a legacy in that particular office. Before, you could judge his senatorial doings. You could judge his vice presidency. But you couldn't judge him as president because he hadn't been president yet. He didn't have any presidential baggage. People could just say, well, it's a different office. His Senate career is legislative. It doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, but you can make that argument plausibly to some voters. Now, though, he's been the President of the United States. The economy sucks, generally speaking. The border is wide open. It's Swiss cheese. We've got numerous foreign policy failures to talk about. The Afghanistan withdrawal, the invasion of Ukraine, the U.S. feckless policy with regards to Palestine. You've got what's happening in Ecovas, which nobody else but me apparently knows about. Unless you're a clanker, then you've heard about it a couple times. Guyana, Taiwan, all of these other things. You have a number of failures domestically and in foreign soil for the Biden administration. He didn't have that before because he hadn't been president. That's the reason why he's collapsing and burning right now. It's like the Hindenburg presidency. I think that Trump, if the election were held today, would take all the competitive states except for Arizona and Wisconsin. And that's because of Maricopa County, number 1, in Arizona, and ballot drop boxes in Wisconsin, number 2. Pennsylvania is partially defortified. I think he'd take it. I think that he would narrowly take Michigan. I think there wouldn't even be really a competition in Georgia, North Carolina, or Nevada. By the way, that gets you to 250 right there. I think that he has a 50-50 shot of taking Minnesota, a 50-50 shot of taking Virginia. We're not sure in New Hampshire and Maine yet because we don't have enough polls, but purportedly, according to the Anselm poll that was held a couple days ago, he'd be at 50-50 in New Hampshire. Again, with Maine, we have polls showing Trump ahead or narrowly being defeated, but they're not aggregated polls, so we can't really say anything for Maine. That's a lot of electoral votes. You would arguably do better than you did in 2016. If I look at general matchup polling, and the fact that Joe Biden is no longer enthusing literally anybody under the sun, even his own fucking fans, then I would expect that it's possible he even wins the popular vote. Well, then, I mean, that's game, set, match. That hands him a precedent that no Republican president has had in quite some time now, have they? You win the popular vote and you win the electoral vote. You've got a plethora of states, including states that had gone blue before, that have gone for you. You've got a second term, but non-consecutive. That's the first time it's happened in over 100 years. It's only the second time in our nation's entire history that it's happened. And again, there's one final pitch to make, and this is why I think that Trump will win. Americans like a hero. They like a fallen hero more than a hero. They like the fallen hero that rises back up, gets back up on their feet, and proceeds the best of all. It's sort of like the story of the United States. Look at the War of 1812. We were almost snuffed out in our goddamn infancy. We managed to get back up. So it would be a microcosm of America, ironically, for symbolic purposes. I think that he crushes him. I think if the election were held today, it wouldn't even be close. Arizona, the only reason I'm discounting it is because of the dishonest counting practices in Maricopa. Technically, Trump's 5 points ahead in Arizona. Feasible. I have my doubts. I have my doubts in a fortified election system. And Wisconsin, I think I wouldn't even fucking bother at this point. Direct all your fire at Pennsylvania and places like that. Prop up Pennsylvania and go hard, go dry in Virginia. If you can get those two, you've won the election. Georgia and North Carolina are effectively already done in deals. And it wouldn't make any sense to swing into Maine more than maybe once because, again, no pollster apparently thinks that Maine can possibly be in play. Yeah, it's not possible. It's been blue for too long. Well, unofficial polling shows something different. I think that you might end up being surprised. And again, if the election results start trickling in on election night, and it looks like Trump is 50-50 in Maine or something like that and could take those seats as well, he has won. It won't be close. People are definitely, they're underestimating Donald Trump, just the same as they did in 2016 when the numbers were nowhere near as good for him. They are totally, even Trump's own fans sometimes I see underestimating him. Well, ballot printers go burr. Okay, there aren't enough ballot printers. That's the whole point. Yes, they rigged the 2020 election. Are they going to be able to do that when the numbers are 10 points more favorable? That's millions and millions and millions of votes. I don't think that they have enough ballot printers to do it. That's about all. Peace out.